Hello again, it's Gordon Causey. I'm back. I'm live. It's Monday, September 16th. It's now 12:13 in the morning, and I almost forgot that tonight was by-election night. Probably like a lot of people, sometimes you forget what day of the week it is. You forget that it's a Monday night. You forget there's so much happening in the world these days. Assassination attempts on Trump and the war in Israel and all these things going on. It's easy for something to slip your mind, and something slipped my mind that there is an election going on right now in the riding of, what's it called? It is called LaSalle, Émard, Verdun, which is part of the city of Montreal. And this is a liberal stronghold. Probably just as much of a stronghold and maybe even more of a stronghold than Trinity St. Paul riding was in Toronto, which the Liberals traditionally had won going all the way back. The last time they had lost the seat was back all the way in the Mulroney era. Many Canadians weren't even alive back when Brian Mulroney was prime minister. So the Liberals traditionally, over the last several elections, they'd won that riding, Toronto St. Paul's, with 50%, in and around 50% or higher, of the total vote count. Then they lost it. They lost it to the Conservatives, and it immediately led to some voices, even voices within the Liberal Party itself, from Justin Trudeau's own caucus, calling on him to step aside because he's leading the Liberal Party. He's leading it like the captain of the Titanic. He's taking the whole ship down. And if the Liberals were to lose this riding, then likewise, I think those voices will get even louder. And right now, it is a horse race. I'm going to share my screen with the results coming directly from Elections Canada, and you'll see just how tight this is. I hope I have the right one. There are two by-elections going on right now. There's one in this riding in Montreal area, LaSalle, Émard, Verdun, and there's another one in the riding of Elmwood, Transcona, which is in the Winnipeg area. But the one out in Winnipeg does not appear to be close at all. The Liberals have no chance in that one. In this riding, let's see if my screen is sharing. Yeah, it is. You can see the results right there. The Bloc Québécois is currently leading, and these numbers are going to change. You see, it went from the Bloc, and now it's the New Democrats leading. Let me scroll up a bit. Let me enlarge it a little bit. There we go. Make it easier to see. 3,987 is the New Democrats. The Bloc Québécois is only 5 votes behind, and then 100 or so votes in behind the Bloc and NDP are the Liberals. The Conservatives are only polling 1,500 votes, so it doesn't look like the Conservatives are in play. This is a three-way race in this riding of LaSalle, Émard, Verdun. 3,987, 300,982, both with 28.1% of the vote, and the Liberals third, but only 100-ish votes in behind. So a couple hundred votes in behind. And if you know anything about electoral politics, if I go to the bottom of this page, it'll tell you how many. There are 83 out of 187 polls reporting. So roughly 44% of the polling districts are reporting right now. The question might be, why is it taking so long? The polls would have closed 3 or so hours ago. Why is it taking so long for the results to come in? Well, look at the number of people on the ballot. The actual number is 91. And you'll see if your name is Daniel Stuckless or Deji Pay Fraser or David Erland or Isaac Dupont, those individuals have received 0 votes. And then we have a whole slew, or not a whole slew, but a number have received just 1, probably the individual themselves. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And what you end up with is 91 people on the ballot. Why are there 91 people on this ballot? It is because there is a movement, a political organization, a group that is angry with Justin Trudeau over failing in his promise. In 2015, Trudeau famously announced, after having been elected to his first term as prime minister, he said that this will be the last election that Canadians have with this first past the post system of voting. And he was promising electoral reform. And like so many other promises that Trudeau has made, he basically forgot about it. And so to protest Trudeau's failure to keep up his commitment, this organization is recruiting people to run and putting their name on the ballot. A lot of these people on this ballot, they're not even from that particular riding, but that's not a requirement. You don't have to be a resident to run in a riding. And so they've stuffed the ballot with 91 names. And so counting the ballots takes a longer period of time. And if you don't understand first past the post, if this was the total, if the polls were done and all the votes had been counted and this was the final result, you would see that it would be the new Democrat who would be elected as the new MP. This Craig Sauvé would be the new member of parliament for this LaSalle, Émard, Verdun riding, with just 27.7% of the vote. However, if Trudeau had kept to his commitment to bring in electoral reform, then we could have had ranked ballots, we could have had proportional representation, but instead what we have is all you have to do is just get 1 more vote than the second place finisher and you win. And even if you don't even get 30% of the vote, every time this refreshes, as you're seeing it do, that means that the results new polls have reported, and now it's the Bloc Québécois who is in front, 4,475, and Craig Sauvé has fallen to second, 4,462, and looks like the Liberals falling a little further behind. So we're hopeful, at least I'm hopeful, that Trudeau will see his candidate, this Laura Palestini, that Laura will lose the election, and then the calls for Justin Trudeau to vacate the prime minister's, to resign, to call for a leadership convention, and we can be done with Trudeau. There's danger in that, though, because it's widely speculated that if Trudeau were to resign, that the individual who would replace him would in all likelihood be none other than Mark Carney, former governor of the Bank of Canada, former governor of the Bank of England, and most recently an advisor to United Nations bodies like the International Monetary Fund and such. And I could see Mark Carney elevating Liberal fortunes. And I think Mark Carney is every bit as much beholden to the World Economic Forum's Great Reset agenda as Justin Trudeau is. So, but Mark Carney has brains. Trudeau doesn't. So the latest update, 4,475, 4,462 for the NDP. Liberals down at 4,334. I think it's interesting to look at the other ridings. I'm going to show you the results from out in Winnipeg. So let me end sharing that screen, and I'll bring up the screen for the other district. This is Elmwood Transcona. No, I won. Let me see if I can get the right one. I think I got it right this time. Yeah. What the heck? All right. I want to show you the results from the others. Sorry for this. Sharunian, yeah, I saw that news. I was just going through my news feed. Didn't read the article, though, so I don't know what Diddy was arrested for, but as a 58-year-old guy, that's not my... There we go, Elmwood Transcona. You can see that the number of candidates is equally long, and they're at 48.13%. Let's take a look again. They're at 50%. 50% of polls reporting, and sorry for flipping back and forth. The New Democrats are leading with 48.8% of the vote. Conservatives are second, 43.4%, and look where the Liberals are in Winnipeg. 4.7% of the vote. Now, this particular riding has been held by the New Democrats for 30 some odd years. This is an NDP stronghold, but I think it's very encouraging for the Conservatives to see them so, competitive in an NDP stronghold, and equally encouraging to see the Liberals tanking so horribly. They only have 800 some odd, less than 800 votes more than the People's Party of Canada. It's pretty pathetic results if you're Justin Trudeau there. So this looks like it's probably a safe NDP hold. They will hold on to the seat. And there's a chance. I mean, we've got about half the polls reporting. But we'll see what happens here. But if I was to guess, I think we're going to see this remain an NDP seat. I'm going to flip around my tabs. Yeah, 48.8 to 43.4. So I'm going to stop sharing that one. That one I'm going to say is almost guaranteed. That one is going to be the NDP is going to win this riding of Elmwood Transcona, which they have held for something like 25, 30 years. It went from a father to a son, and now this is the first time, and I'm trying to remember the name of the candidate, and I can't. But the NDP member who resigned his seat, resulting in this by-election, prior to him holding the seat, it was his father. And the Conservatives appear at least very competitive in it, but it looks like it's going to go to the NDP. The bigger question is who's going to win this riding of LaSalle, Émard, Verdun, another Liberal stronghold that looks like there's a very good chance another Liberal stronghold is going to fall, not to the Conservatives, but to the Bloc Québécois or the NDP. I have Whale Oil Beef is on, who's out in the West Coast, so still early for him, 12:30 for those of us in the Eastern time zone. I'm Northumberland County, Eastern Ontario. About an hour from Kingston. I live about halfway between Oshawa and Kingston. Anyway, Whale Oil is writing, let's vote for a new political system by not participating. That is to say, by not voting. To each their own. Sharunian thinks I'm very modest. I try. I have an ego just like everyone else, though. So let's see what's happening in LaSalle, Émard, Verdun. 4,679. It's a 2-vote, 600, no, 22 votes separate the Bloc Québécois from the NDP. But the Liberals are still very close. They're still, call that 47 to 40, a couple hundred votes. 200 or so votes separate the Liberals from the leading Bloc Québécois right now. 26.8 for the Liberals, 27.6 for the Bloc Québécois. And every time that refreshes, Liberals still in third, 26.9. And how many? We have 103 of 187 polls reporting. So we will see. And let's look at some of the other candidates. So the Bloc Québécois, Louis-Philippe Sauvé, the Liberal in third. So the NDP is Craig Sauvé, the Bloc Québécois, Louis-Philippe Sauvé. The Liberal is Laura Palestini. Interesting, Laura Palestini, the candidate in this riding, was trying to distance herself from Trudeau and saying that the election is not about Trudeau, it's about her. She didn't want people voting on Trudeau's leadership of the Liberal Party. Smart woman, because everyone knows how unpopular Trudeau is, what a mess he's made of this country. And that's the perception held by 3 out of 4 Canadians, is that Trudeau needs to go. The Conservative, who's a distant fourth, is Louis Ialenti. And then you have the Green Party, Jenny Mercier. She's down, or Gen C, so I don't know if it's male or female, just 306 votes. Now she's gone up to 308. So let's see what's happened. It's Craig Sauvé, 4,700. Only 7 vote difference between the NDP and the Bloc Québécois. And the Liberals, 4,649. So a little over 100 votes separate the Liberals from the New Democrats right now. This one's going to be a horse race, and I may just stick around and look and see. I want to know who wins. I want to know if there's going to be one less NDP member. And if the NDP wins both ridings, if they win this one, Elmwood Transcona, and it's looking good. It's looking like they will. They have 91% of the polls are reporting 175 out of 191. So, and that riding, that's done. The NDP has won. They're going to hold on to that seat. So they're not going to increase their seat total based on this riding. They held on to that, but they could end up adding a seat. Jagmeet Singh may have one more caucus member sitting around his table after today. And will that embolden Jagmeet Singh to join in with the Conservatives in voting no confidence against the Trudeau Liberals and potentially sending Canadians into an election this fall? Possible. However, the Liberal Party can also get support from the Bloc Québécois. The Bloc Québécois actually has more seats than the NDP. So if the Bloc Québécois steps in and props Trudeau's government up and votes against no confidence, then Trudeau survives. So we will see what happens. But if the Liberals lose this riding, this is a seat the Liberals currently hold, and it's looking strong possibility that they could lose it. The voting is going to take a while because there are 91 names on the ballot. They're currently at 105 out of 187 polls have reported the results. That's 56%. So there's still 43.85% of the polls still have to come in, and it's far too close to call. The Liberals are not that far behind, 115 or so votes behind the currently leading NDP. And there's only 7 votes separating the NDP from the second place Bloc Québécois. See, 27.5, 27.5, 26.9. It's a horse race. And if you're wondering what these polls mean, anyone who's voted, typically you'll go into a school gymnasium, a community center, maybe a church hall, something like that, a big room. And usually what you'll see is there'll be a desk up front with the returning officer, deputy returning officers, people working for Elections Canada, and you'll give them your ID, your voter card, and they'll determine what polling district you're in. And this riding in Montreal, this Montreal area riding, there are 187 polling districts. And so you go in and you'll be told, oh, you're poll 38, you're poll 39, whatever the number is. And there's more than one polling station. There'll be a school will be one, a community center will be another one, a church building will be another one, the high school will be another one. There will be a number of voting places, and you go to the one that you're told to go to on your voter registration card, and then you're given your ballot, and you have one specific box. If you're in poll 83, you put your ballot into the box for poll number 83. And so each poll represents a ballot box as well. So what happens is once the voting ends, they close the doors, and then one by one, these boxes are opened up and the votes are tallied. And because there are 191 names on the ballot, I think it's a folded ballot. Like normally a ballot's just, long, and it's got 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 names on it. Now you've got 91, so they actually had to come up with a folded ballot to fit 40 names down one side, 50 odd, or 45 names on each side. And if you wanted to vote for one of the independents, or one of the no affiliation types, man, oh man, you've really got to look for your candidate's name. Who did they have? They had Marxist-Leninist Normand Chouinard, 22 votes for the Marxist-Leninist. The Marijuana Party, Steve Berthelot got 29. The Christian Heritage Party, Alain Paquette, 31 votes. The Rhinoceros Party, Parti Rhinoceros, great name, Sébastien Corino, 35 votes. And then CFP. I don't even know what the CFP is. I'm lost. Does someone in the chat know what CFP stands for? Whoever that is, they got 60 votes. People's Party, Maxime Bernier's party, they're at 87, 0.5%. There's an independent by the name of Tina Rougeau, 117 votes. Green Party has gotten 322. Conservative, 2,095. And then again, it's a horse race. Bloc Québécois, 5,040, leading now, 15 votes more than Craig Sauvé of the NDP. And the Liberal is currently third. She has 4,930. So this is going to be interesting to see who wins this. I'm wondering if anyone can find out what this CFP is. Why don't I find out? I'll open up, change one of my other tabs. I'm having trouble finding what it stands for. Canadian Federation of Parties? Canadian Future Party. Launched in 2024. And Mark Corey. I just wonder, in French, it's called La Parti Avenir Canadien, PAC. So I'm going to change the language on this to French and see what PAC. Yeah, so that's what it stands for. Very good. I'm going to share the results now in case anyone wants to watch along with me. Hope I get the right ones. There it is. It's going to take a while. 91 people on the ballot. Make it nice and big. So it's 27.4% for the Bloc Québécois, 27.3% for the NDP. And then a little further back are but still only about 100 votes, 110 votes. The Liberals are down 110 votes to the Bloc Québécois currently. And how many do we have? 115 out of 187. That's 61.5% of the polls reporting. This riding has almost 80,000 individuals who are registered to vote. And of those, so far, 18,379 votes have been, well, they're saying that's the turnout. So I don't know whether that's the total number of ballots they've counted. Have to do the math. No, it's going up. So far, they've counted 19,478 ballots. That's right now 24.36%. Let's see, we had a refresh, so 5,300. Oh, that now the Liberals have moved into the lead. Very slight lead. A little over 100 more votes than the Bloc Québécois. And the way this will tend to work is there are areas, an area where Laura Palestini may very well live. It might be her specific neighborhood that just counted their ballots and phoned them in. And so a riding like LaSalle, Émard, Verdun, there will be portions of the riding that are very strong Bloc Québécois. Some of the areas will be strong NDP, others will be strong Liberal. There might even be pockets where there's strength for the Conservatives. And we don't know which polls are reporting All we know is it's 117 of 187. So there are still 70 ballot boxes that need to be opened. No one's saying anything, but I have it on top chat. Let's put it on live chat. Sharunyan's writing something interesting, that Jagmeet Singh is part of the Khalistan movement, which is members of the Sikh faith some members have been calling for the creation of a separate state, a Sikh national homeland. And I believe that Jagmeet Singh has I might be mistaken, but I believe he has a family member. I mean, there have been terrorist acts committed by individuals who support the creation of a country for Sikhs within what most people call the Punjab. That's the language that Sikhs typically speak, is called Punjabi, and they want the Punjab to become a new country called Khalistan. I don't know if that's universal. I know a few individuals who are Sikh. I'm not friends with anyone who is. I live in a not a particularly diverse area, but there are some individuals I know who I work with, who I see at work, who are Sikh, and we get truck drivers, and a lot of truckers are Sikh or Sikh. The way that members of that faith, they pronounce their faith the Sikh faith, Sikh, whereas English Canadians, we tend to say Sikh. Minor point. So it's still Laura Palestini 27.6. The block is in second. We have 120-ish votes separating. Just spitballing off the top of my head. 111 to get to 50, 122 or so votes separating. And right now we're at 120, 64.17%. If the Liberals manage to hang on to this seat, nothing changes. They held the seat before the by-election. They will simply maintain that seat as a Liberal seat. It does nothing to change the dynamics of the House of Commons. The Liberals will still be in a minority situation, whether they win or lose. But if Trudeau's Liberals can manage to hang on to this riding, then it'll make Justin Trudeau's job easier to maintain control and maintain his leadership. If the Liberals, by contrast, if they lose this riding, I suspect the voices calling on Trudeau to step down will grow louder and louder. And for those of us with a more right-leaning bent, who tilt more toward the conservative, I would suggest we be careful about what we wish for. I think the best prospect for a conservative victory, whenever the next election comes, is for Pierre Poilievre to be running against Justin Trudeau's Liberals, not Mark Carney's Liberals. If it's Mark Carney's Liberals, then it's going to be much tougher slogging. And remember that the Conservative Party doesn't have a natural dance partner within the House of Commons. So we got an update. Let's see what it says. Scroll. Still the Liberal, 5,948. Bloc Québécois second. 130 votes is the separator, 0.6%. And how many? 125. So we're over 2/3 now. We're at 66.8% 187,984. So just basically a third of the ballot boxes need to be open. 187 minus 125, 62. Yeah, 62 ballot boxes left open. And we'll do a little bit of math. Let's take a look down here. So we have 21,000. Oh, we've got an update. Oh, Liberals are leading, but now the lead has shrunk to just 30 votes. The Liberal has a 30-vote lead over the Bloc Québécois. And we're looking at 22,000, basically, 21,985 votes so far. And that is based on 128 ballot boxes. I'm just curious as to get my calculator. I'm curious as to how many, on average, how many ballots are in each box. I'm going to check that out right now. Get my calculator going on my computer. $22,000 divided by 128 ballot boxes. So roughly 170 odd ballots per box. Should give us an indication when it gets down to the really nitty-gritty. And we got another update. We're now at 130 of 187. We're up to over 22,000 votes now. And it is still the Liberal winning by 60 odd votes right now over the Bloc Québécois. I see I have a number of people watching, 7. I imagine some of you are just jumping in, searching YouTube, wanting to know what the results of this by-election are. Well, if you want to comment in on the live chat, you're most welcome. I'm very much a free speech advocate. Don't worry about being censored. Thoughts you have, pro-liberal, pro-NDP, pro-Black Québécois, pro-conservative, pro-green, pro-independent, pro-People's Party, whatever the case, you're welcome to join in on the chat. We've already had Sharunian and Whale Oil Beef chatting away. Sharunian Allegiance is asking why Canada is so lenient towards criminals. It's such a shame. Could do a whole video talking about our criminal justice system. And some might argue it's too harsh. So still 60 odd votes. Let's see. And we are at 130 of 187. So basically 70% of the polls have reported there are still 57 ballot boxes that need to be opened and the votes counted. So, and if anyone's curious, I've already called, I think everyone, and probably all the, I'm not watching the networks, but I'm sure they've all determined that the NDP will hold on to their seat of Elmwood, Transcona, Layla Dance won that riding, currently 11,216 votes. The Conservatives came a strong second with 10,087 votes, and that's with 183 of 191 polls reporting in that riding. So there are only 8 ballot boxes left in that riding out in Winnipeg area. And now there's only 6 ballot boxes left, and it's 12,052 to 10,825. What's very telling for Trudeau's Conservatives is that, or Trudeau's Conservatives, yeah, right. What's very telling for Trudeau's Liberals in the riding of Elmwood Transcona, the Liberal candidate Ian McIntyre only got 1,173 votes, just 4.7% of the total. 4.7. 12,000 plus votes for the NDP, nearly 11,000 votes for the Conservatives, and the Liberals haven't even managed to get 1,200. Just the Liberals just got, Ian McIntyre got absolutely cremated in this by-election in the Winnipeg riding of Elmwood Transcona. But nothing changes there. Now in this riding, last I checked, it was 130. It's still 130. I'm going to do a refresh. 132. So has anything changed? It's still Laura Palestini of the Liberals, 27.7. The Bloc Québécois, 6,137. So 64 votes separate the Bloc Québécois candidate from the Liberal. Shurunyan's writing about a man setting a woman's body on fire and then fleeing to Hong Kong. I'm not familiar at all with that story, Shurunyan. There's so much happening in the world, it's almost impossible to keep up with every single news story. So, back to Laura Palestini. 64 votes. It's all that is separating the two right now. And right now, 180. Okay, this is almost done. We are at 132 out of 187. Sorry, we're not almost done. We still have 55 ballot boxes that need to be opened and counted. Let's do a refresh, see if that's gone up. 135. Still Laura Palestini. 6,367 to 6,245. So 122 votes by my quick math off the top of my head. It's going to be a close one. Goodness knows how long it's going to take. What can we talk about in the interim? There's a lot of people who you'll hear a lot of people say when they don't like the result of an election, they'll say that, oh, it's rigged. It's all rigged. And if you understand the way the voting process works in Canada, myself personally, I have a very high degree of confidence, incredibly high degree of confidence that the votes as counted are genuine. Because the way it works in Canada, if you voted, you've gone into the polling station, you've marked your X, you put it in the box, and the box stays there. Each candidate is allowed to have a representative called a scrutineer there, watching the voting taking place, making sure there are no irregularities. And then when the ballot boxes are open, The scrutineers can then stand there and watch as the ballots are counted. And they can contest if they think that a ballot has been improperly marked. They can contest the ballot, and that will be put aside. And then it will become a matter of, does it matter, is it going to tilt the election? There are 10 disputed ballots, but candidate X won by 892 votes. So even if we give them all 10, it's not going to change the result. And so I have a high degree of confidence that the votes as counted, that's what the results were. See, we were at 132 before. What are we at now? 130. Yeah, we were at 135. Can do a refresh. Still at 135. So 122 votes separate the Bloc Québécois. Imagine a lot of Canadians right now, non-Quebecers, are rooting for the Bloc Québécois. And the Bloc Québécois, their stated purpose, the reason for their existence is to promote Quebec interests within the federal parliament. At one time, they were blatantly openly separatist. That's been toned down somewhat. On va voir est-ce qu'il y a une possibilité qu'il y a les francophones qui regardent mon live stream à cette heure? Parce que je suis plus ou moins bilingue, more or less bilingual, plus ou moins. J'ai habité dans la ville de Québec entre 2011 et 2015. Donc, comme il faut, j'ai appris comment débrouiller suffisamment en français. Donc, c'est Laura Palestini qui gagne à ce moment avec 6367. Donc, pourcentage, c'est 7,7. Ah, OK. Donc, c'est juste 60 votes qui séparent le candidat Bloc québécois, Louis-Philippe Sauvé. Il y a 60 votes en arrière de Laura Palestini de la Parti libéral. Est-ce qu'on a des francophones qui regardent mon stream? Peut-être. Guess not. No French people watching the stream. So I'll switch back to English. My mother language. French is very much my second language. I have to think. It's hard for me to talk just off the cuff. So what are we at? We were at 135. We're now at 139. Almost 74. We got just over 25% of the boxes left. 58 boxes left to open. And we will find out who won this riding. I've got a few people watching. Anyone want to put in the chat who they're hoping to win? Are you hoping for the Bloc Québécois? Are you hoping for the Liberals? Are you hoping for the NDP? Were you hoping for a Conservative? Although that does not look like it's in the cards, not in this riding. 2,769 total votes, 2,800 now for the Conservative. And Laura Palestini still winning. Went up a bit. Under 100 votes, though. Less than 100 votes separate the Liberal from the Bloc Québécois. And we're now at 140. So one more ballot box got opened. There have been 23,637 votes cast, and that's in 140 polls, which each poll is in a ballot box. So there are about 168 there have been about 168 ballots in each ballot box on average, the ones that they've done so far. And too close to call. And the New Democratic Party, the NDP, they've fallen back, but they're still in the race. There's 400-ish votes separate this Craig Sauvé. I think the NDP will be encouraged by this result. Sherunian believes there needs to be another federal election. There will be. The latest it'll happen is October of 2025. We have a fixed election law that mandates that an election has to take place no later than 4 years after the previous one. So the last time we went to the polls was in 2021 in September, October of 2021. So the next election has to, I think the next election has to be in October of 2025, basically 4 years after we went to the polls in 2021. But it could happen sooner if Trudeau pulls the plug, or if there's a no confidence vote and the no confidence vote passes. Personally, I think if the Liberals were to install Mark Carney as leader, I think there's a strong possibility they would pull the plug quickly and have an election with Mark Carney leading the party. And that should be worrisome. That is worrisome for me because, while Mark Carney is a lot smarter than Trudeau, that's a very low bar, but I think Mark Carney is very much beholden to globalist World Economic Forum type interests. All right, refreshing. We were at 140, still at 140. No more ballot boxes have been opened. So just under 100 votes separate the Liberal and the Bloc Québécois. All depends where those 25, how many boxes, 25% of the boxes. You got 47 boxes that have to be opened. Where are they? Are they in a Liberal stronghold? Are they in an NDP stronghold? Are they in a Bloc Québécois stronghold? Time will tell. Yeah. We'll see how the results pair out. I'm gratified myself to see a member of the Christian Heritage Party running, Alain Paquette. God bless you. 43 votes. Same as the Rhinoceros and the Marijuana Party, 43, 43, 43. People's Party, 105. Not a particularly good showing. Gregory Yablonowski. Sounds like a good Irish name if ever there was one. Only 3 polls left to be, only 3 ballot boxes left to be counted out in Winnipeg, Elmwood, Transcona. And the NDP candidate, Layla Dance, 13,080 votes, 48.8%. Conservative, a very strong second. Colin Reynolds, 11,636. So that was good for 43.4% of the vote. The Liberal, Ian McIntyre, just 1,293 votes, not even 5% of the total vote count went to the Liberal candidate in the Winnipeg area riding of Elmwood, Transcona. And that's with just 3 ballot boxes left open. So, and the voter turnout, it's not, it doesn't look like it's even going to be 40% in that Winnipeg area riding. And we now have, oh goodness, a tie. 6,715 votes each, dead even, Liberal and Bloc Québécois. So the Bloc Québécois closed the gap. And we got a 400 vote gap for the NDP. So it's looking tough for the NDP. And we're at 140, now we're at 142. 142. And they've only had 30%